Have you ever held a paycheck in your hands and felt nothing? Not gratitude, not relief, just a hollow sensation that no matter how many zeros are printed on that paper, it will never be enough. You deposit it. You watch the numbers change in your account, and within days, sometimes hours, it's gone. Bills, debt, expenses you didn't even know existed, and you're back to zero again. You work harder. You take on extra hours. You hustle until your body screams for rest. And still, the hole never fills. The bucket leaks faster than you can pour water into it. What if I told you the problem is not your paycheck? What if the issue is not your job, not your salary, not even the economy? What if the real problem is that you've forgotten something so fundamental, so ancient, that the moment you remember it, everything changes? My name is Rabbi Yosef, and I'm about to show you the spiritual technology that transforms dead paper into divine partnership. But before I do, I need you to subscribe to this channel right now, because what I'm about to share with you is not motivational content. This is not generic financial advice. This is ancient covenant technology that 99% of people have completely forgotten. And if you're serious about breaking free from financial slavery, if you're ready to stop being a victim of the system and become a partner with the creator of wealth itself, then you need to be part of this army. We are 100,000 souls strong, and we're remembering what the world forgot. Hit that subscribe button, join the covenant, and let's continue. Now I need you to do something right now. In the comments below, write down the lie you believe about money, the story you tell yourself about why you can't get ahead. Be honest, because until you name the enemy, you cannot defeat it. Let me tell you about the night I sat in my car with my bank account in the negative, holding a check that was supposed to save my business. But I knew, deep in my bones, that this check would not save me. Not really. Because I had been here before, many times. Money would come in and money would disappear. The cycle was endless. I was exhausted. Not physically tired, spiritually exhausted. I had been operating under a lie. The same lie most of you believe right now. The lie says, work harder and you'll get ahead. The lie says, the more you hustle, the more you'll have. The lie says, success is about your effort, your strategy, your discipline. And for years, I believed it. I worked 18-hour days, I built systems, I optimized processes, I squeezed every drop of productivity out of my schedule. And you know what happened? I became a slave to money, a slave to the system, a slave to a piece of paper that dictated every decision in my life. And the worst part? The paper had no memory of the covenant. Let me explain what I mean. In Malachi 3:10, God makes an extraordinary offer. He says, bring the whole tithe into the storehouse, so that there may be food in my house, and test me now in this. See if I will not open for you the windows of heaven and pour out for you blessing until it overflows. Read that again. Test me now in this. This is the only place in all of Torah where God invites you to test him, to challenge him, to put his word to the proof. Why? Because this is not a transaction. This is not a business deal. This is a covenant. And covenants operate on different laws than the marketplace. But here's the problem. You've been operating in the marketplace, not in the covenant. You've been treating money like an object, like a tool, like something you extract from the world through force, strategy, or manipulation. And because of that, you've cut yourself off from the source. Money in Torah is not a thing. It's a vessel, a container, and every container has a purpose. The purpose of money is to carry divine energy from the heavenly realm into the physical world. But if the container is not consecrated, if it is not aligned with its purpose, it becomes hollow. It becomes dead weight. You can work 100 hours a week, you can make $10,000 a month, but if the vessel is not consecrated, the energy leaks out, the bucket has a hole, and you remain empty. So what is consecration? Consecration means remembering, not passive memory, active memory, the kind of memory that changes behavior, the kind of memory that transforms how you hold $1, how you spend $1, how you think about $1. In Hebrew, the word for remember is zakar, but zakar is not a passive verb, it's a command, it's an action. To remember in Torah means to reconstruct the original covenant in real time, every single day. And this is where most people fail. They forget. They forget that they are not the source of wealth. They forget that they are not generating the power. They forget that they are part of a partnership. And when you forget the partnership, the power stops flowing. Let me be brutally clear about something. You are not a victim of the economy. You are not a victim of your circumstances. You are not a victim of bad luck or bad timing or bad genes. You are a victim of amnesia. You have forgotten who your partner is. And because you've forgotten, you've been trying to do his job. You've been trying to generate wealth from nothing. You've been trying to force abundance through sheer willpower. And it's killing you, because that's not your job. Your job is not to generate the power. Your job is to build a worthy vessel to contain it. Let me show you what I mean through a story that happened 3,000 years ago, and yet it happens every single day in your life, whether you know it or not. The Israelites are standing at the edge of the Red Sea. Behind them, the Egyptian army is closing in. Ahead of them, the water is impassable. They are trapped, and they do what most people do when they're trapped. They panic. They cry out. They blame Moses. They blame God. They curse the day they left Egypt, and Moses tells them to stand still and wait for the miracle. But here's what the Talmud reveals. There was one man, Nachshon ben Aminadav, who did not wait. He walked into the water, step by step. The water did not part. He kept walking. The water rose to his ankles, to his knees, to his waist, to his chest, to his neck, and only when the water reached his nostrils, when he was one breath away from drowning, only then did the sea split. Why? Because the miracle was already prepared. The power was already available. But it required action first. It required a man willing to walk into the impossible with absolute faith in the partnership. And the moment he did, the sea opened. This is the principle you need to understand if you want to transform your relationship with money. The abundance is already prepared. The blessing is already available. The windows of heaven are already open. But they will not pour out until you walk into the water, until you act in alignment with the covenant, until you remember who your partner is. And here's what most people do instead. They stand on the shore and pray for the water to part. They visualize the miracle. They affirm abundance. They repeat mantras. They burn sage. They manifest. And nothing happens. Because God is not your butler. He is your partner. And partnerships require action from both sides. This is the difference between two paths that both lead to destruction. Path one is the hustler. The hustler believes that success is all about human effort. Grind harder, sleep less, optimize more. The hustler treats God as irrelevant, and the hustler burns out, because no human being can carry the weight of wealth creation alone. Path two is the manifester. The manifester believes that success is all about divine favor. Just believe, just visualize, just trust the universe. The manifester treats action as irrelevant, and the manifester stays broke, because faith without works is dead. Both paths are poison. Torah offers a third path, partnership. You provide the action. God provides the power. You build the vessel. He fills it. You walk into the water. He splits the sea. And this is not theory. This is technology, and I'm going to show you exactly how to apply it. But first, you need to understand something about the enemy you're facing, because the moment you decide to enter this covenant, the moment you decide to remember, something inside you will resist. The ancient sages call it the Yetzer Hara, the voice of doubt, the voice of ego, the voice that tells you, you did this yourself, you earned this, you deserve credit, or the voice that tells you, this is nonsense, this is magical thinking, this won't work. Both voices come from the same source. Both voices are designed to keep you trapped in amnesia, because as long as you forget the covenant, you remain powerless, you remain small, you remain controllable, and the system loves controllable people. But you were not created to be controlled. You were created to be a partner with the creator of the universe, and the moment you remember that, everything changes. So let me ask you a question. When was the last time you held money in your hands and remembered where it came from? Not your job, not your boss, not your clients, but the source, the one who gives you the power to create wealth in the first place. When was the last time you thanked him for the partnership? When was the last time you treated money as sacred? If you can't remember, then you've been operating outside the covenant, and that's why the bucket leaks. That's why the hole never fills. That's why you work harder and harder and end up with less and less. But here's the good news. Amnesia has a cure, and that cure is ritual. Not theory, not philosophy, not positive thinking. Ritual, a physical act that interrupts the pattern of forgetfulness and reconstructs the memory of the covenant in real time. Let me tell you what happened the night I sat in my car with that check. I was done, finished. I had tried everything, every strategy, every system, every hustle, and I was still broke, still drowning, still trapped. And in that moment, I heard a voice, not audible, but clear. And the voice said, "Stop trying to do my job." And I broke, not in despair, in surrender, in recognition that I had been carrying a weight I was never meant to carry, that I had been playing a role I was never designed to play. And in that moment of surrender, I remembered the verse in Malachi, "Test me now in this." So I did something that probably seems insane to you. I took that check, and before I deposited it, I wrote something on the memo line. I wrote the verse, Malachi 3:10, in Hebrew, "Bring the whole tithe into the storehouse." And I made a vow, out loud, in my car. I said, "This money is not mine. It belongs to you, and I will treat it as sacred. I will use it according to your instructions, and I will test your word." And then I deposited the check. Did a miracle happen? Did the check multiply in my account? No, but something far more powerful occurred. My panic stopped. The clarity came first. Not money, clarity. Because here's what you need to understand. Your financial problem is not a math problem. It's a consciousness problem. You can't solve a consciousness problem with more money. You solve it by changing how you see money. And the moment I consecrated that check, my consciousness shifted. I stopped seeing it as my paycheck. I started seeing it as evidence of partnership, and that changed everything. Because when you see money as evidence of partnership, you stop treating it like a slave master. You stop letting it dictate your decisions. You stop living in fear of losing it. You start operating from a different place, a place of sufficiency, a place of trust, a place of covenant. And from that place, different actions emerge, better actions, wiser actions, actions that actually produce results instead of just exhausting you. Within 30 days of making that vow, 3 things happened that saved my business. Not because God dropped money from the sky, but because my panic cleared, my judgment sharpened, and I saw opportunities I had been too blind to notice before. That's how covenant works. It doesn't remove the need for action. It empowers your action. It aligns your action with divine flow. And when your action aligns with divine flow, you stop swimming against the current. You stop fighting the system. You start moving with precision, with power, with results. But let me be clear about something. This is not a quick fix. This is not a magic spell. This is a complete reconstruction of how you relate to money. And reconstruction takes time, it takes discipline, it takes commitment. And it starts with one verse, one ancient command that contains the entire blueprint for wealth creation, Deuteronomy 8:18. "You shall remember the Lord your God, for it is He who gives you power to create wealth, in order to establish His covenant which He swore to your fathers, as it is this day." Read that again, slowly. Every single word in this verse is surgical. Every single word is doing something specific. And if you understand what each word is doing, you unlock a technology that has produced wealth for 3,000 years. Let's dissect it. You shall remember, Zakor. In Hebrew, this is not a suggestion. This is a command. And the command is not to passively think about the past. The command is to actively reconstruct the original agreement in the present moment. Every single day, every single transaction, every single time you touch money. Memory, in Torah, is a verb. It's an action. It's a discipline. And most people fail at wealth because they fail at memory. They forget. They wake up in the morning and treat money like it's separate from God. They work all day and think their paycheck came from their boss. They spend at night and never ask where the power to earn originated. And because they forget, they break the circuit. The power stops flowing, the vessel empties. But when you remember, you complete the circuit. You reconnect to the source, and the power flows again. Now look at the next part. The Lord your God, not the universe, not energy, not consciousness, not abundance. The Lord your God, a specific being with whom you have a specific relationship, a covenant partner who knows your name, knows your struggles, knows your purpose. This is not generic spirituality. This is not manifestation talk. This is covenant language, and covenant language demands specificity. You cannot have a covenant with the universe. The universe doesn't sign contracts. The universe doesn't make promises. The universe doesn't test you and invite you to test back. But God does. And the moment you acknowledge him as your specific partner, not a vague force but a conscious being, everything changes. Because now you're not trying to manipulate energy, you're honoring an agreement. Next phrase, for it is he who gives you. No ten, he gives. Present tense, continuous action. Not, he gave once in the past. He gives. Right now. This moment. Every moment. And what does he give? Not money. Listen carefully, he does not give you money, he gives you power to create wealth. This is the critical distinction most people miss. And it's why most people stay broke even when they make good money. They think God's job is to hand them cash. And when cash doesn't appear, they conclude God isn't listening, or God doesn't care, or God doesn't exist. But that was never the deal. The deal is not that he gives you wealth. The deal is that he gives you power to create wealth. And there's a massive difference. Power is potential. Wealth is result. He provides the potential. You provide the action that converts potential into result. He provides the electricity. You provide the appliance that uses the electricity. He provides the seed. You provide the planting, the watering, the harvesting. Without his power, your action produces nothing. Without your action, his power remains dormant. It takes both. Partnership. And this is where the hustler fails. The hustler thinks he's generating the power himself. The hustler thinks, I built this business, I made these sales, I earned this money. And because he thinks he's the source, he tries to carry the entire weight alone. And eventually he collapses. And this is where the manifestor fails. The manifestor thinks God should hand over the result without requiring action. The manifestor sits on the couch and visualizes wealth and wonders why the bank account stays empty. Because faith without works is not faith. It's fantasy. Torah rejects both errors. Torah says, he gives the power, you apply the action. Together, you create wealth. And when you operate in that partnership, wealth flows. Not because you worked harder, not because you believed harder, but because you aligned with the covenant structure that was designed for wealth creation from the beginning. Now the next word, and this word is everything, koach, power. In Hebrew, koach means strength, ability, potential energy. It's the raw force that exists before it becomes anything specific. It's the electricity in the wire before you plug in the lamp. It's the gasoline in the tank before you turn the ignition. And God gives you koach every single day. Every morning you wake up, you have been given power. Mental power, physical power, creative power, relational power, strategic power. The question is not whether you have the power. The question is whether you know where it came from, and whether you're using it according to covenant terms. Because here's the trap. When you forget the source of the power, you start using the power incorrectly. You start using it to serve yourself instead of serving the covenant. You start using it to build your own kingdom instead of his kingdom. And when you do that, the power turns toxic. It burns you out. It makes you sick. It destroys your relationships. It traps you in a cycle of exhaustion and scarcity, even when you're making money. But when you remember the source, when you use the power according to covenant terms, it multiplies. It flows. It produces results that are far beyond what your effort alone could achieve. This is what the sages mean when they say, the blessing of the Lord makes rich, and he adds no sorrow with it. When wealth comes, through covenant alignment, it brings peace. When wealth comes through covenant violation, it brings torment. You've seen this. You know people who make six figures and are miserable, stressed, anxious, trapped, because their wealth did not come through covenant. It came through grinding, through manipulation, through cutting corners, and that kind of wealth is cursed. But covenant wealth is blessed, not because it's more money, but because it carries peace with it, because you know you didn't steal it. You didn't con anyone, you didn't sell your soul. You partnered with God, you built the vessel, he filled it, and now you're stewarding it according to his instructions. That's wealth, real wealth, not just money. Money with shalom. Next phrase, la'asot chayil, to create wealth. La'asot means to do, to make, to act, to produce. This is your part. This is the action required. This is where you show up, where you work, where you execute, where you deliver. God does not do this part for you. He will not write your business plan. He will not make your sales calls. He will not negotiate your contracts. That's your job. And if you don't do your job, the partnership fails. But here's the key. Chayil does not just mean money. Chayil means Strength, force, army, wealth, valor. It's a military term. It's the word used to describe warriors. It's the word used to describe a woman of noble character in Proverbs 31. So when Torah says God gives you power, la'asot chayil, it's not just talking about making money. It's talking about building strength, building capacity, building influence, building legacy. Wealth is not an end in itself. Wealth is a tool for establishing covenant on earth. And this is why people who chase money for money's sake always feel empty, because money alone cannot satisfy. Money is not the goal. Money is the resource that enables the goal, and the goal is covenant. The goal is partnership with God. The goal is becoming who you were designed to be, and doing what you were designed to do. When you have that clarity, money stops being your master. It becomes your servant, and everything changes. Final phrase. In order to establish his covenant, which he swore to your fathers, as it is this day. This is the purpose clause. This is why the whole system exists, not for your comfort, not for your pleasure, not so you can buy a bigger house or a faster car, but to establish covenant, to make visible in the physical world the agreement that was made in the spiritual realm. Your wealth has a purpose, your business has a purpose, your income has a purpose, and the purpose is not you, the purpose is the covenant. Now I know what you're thinking. Rabbi Yosef, this sounds like you're saying I can't enjoy my wealth, that I have to give it all away, that I have to live like a monk. No, that's not what I'm saying. Torah commands you to enjoy your wealth. Ecclesiastes 5:18 says, "Here is what I have seen to be good and fitting, to eat, to drink and enjoy oneself in all one's labor, in which he toils under the sun during the few years of his life which God has given him, for this is his reward." You are commanded to enjoy, but you are commanded to enjoy within covenant, and when you enjoy within covenant, your pleasure is holy, your rest is sacred, your celebration honors God instead of dishonoring him. The difference is consciousness, the difference is memory, the difference is constantly asking, does this action align with covenant? Does this expense serve the purpose? Does this decision honor the partnership? And when the answer is yes, you move forward with confidence, with peace, with blessing. And when the answer is no, you stop, you correct, you realign. This is the life of covenant wealth. It's not poverty, it's not greed. It's precise alignment with divine purpose. And from that alignment flows abundance that is sustainable, peaceful, and generational. Let me tell you about a man who understood this better than almost anyone in history. His name was Rav Huna. He lived in Babylon in the 3rd century. He was not born wealthy, he was a farmer, but he made a decision early in his life that transformed everything. He decided that every single coin that came into his possession would be consecrated before he used it. He would hold the coin, he would recite Deuteronomy 8:18, and he would declare out loud, "This coin is evidence of partnership. I did not generate this wealth. God gave me the power to create it, and I will use it according to covenant terms." Did this make him poor? No, it made him one of the wealthiest men in Babylon. His wealth was so great that he could support the entire Talmudic Academy. Hundreds of scholars studied Torah because of his resources, and when he died, the entire city mourned. Why? Because his wealth was not selfish. It was covenantal. It served purpose. It established the kingdom. And here's the detail that will blow your mind. After he died, his students searched through his financial records. They wanted to understand how he managed money so successfully, and they found something shocking. He never spent a coin without first asking, "Does this serve the covenant?" Not, "Can I afford this?" Not, "Will this make me happy?" But, "Does this serve the covenant?" And that one question, asked consistently over decades, produced a level of wealth and impact that most people only dream about. Because when you ask the right question, you get the right answer. And when you get the right answer, you make the right decision. And when you make the right decision consistently, you build a life of abundance. But when you ask the wrong question, when you ask, "What can I get?" instead of, "What does the covenant require?" you end up trapped, broke, exhausted. Even if you have money in the bank, this is the technology, this is the system. This is what has worked for 3,000 years. And it will work for you if you apply it, if you commit to it. If you refuse to let amnesia steal your birthright. So now we come to the question you've been waiting for, the question that separates those who merely understand from those who transform. What do I actually do? How do I take this ancient technology and apply it to my life today? Tonight, right now, I'm going to give you a protocol. 3 steps. Simple, concrete, physical. And if you follow these steps with precision and commitment for 90 days, your relationship with money will never be the same. I call it the Covenant Currency Protocol, and I'm warning you right now, the moment you commit to this, you will face resistance. Not from the outside, from the inside, from that voice I told you about earlier, the Yetzer Hara, the voice of doubt, the voice that will tell you this is foolish, this is superstition, this is beneath you. That voice is not your friend. That voice is the guardian of your slavery, and if you listen to it, you will stay exactly where you are, broke, exhausted, trapped. But if you silence that voice, if you act in spite of that voice, you will break the chains, and you will step into the covenant that has been waiting for you since before you were born. Here's the protocol. Step 1. Tonight, before you go to sleep, you will take 1 bill from your wallet, preferably the largest denomination you can afford to set apart. If that's a $100 bill, use that. If it's a 20, use that. If it's a 5, use that. The amount does not matter. The act matters. You will take this bill and you will consecrate it. And consecration requires words. Because words create reality. Words establish agreement. Words seal covenant. You will hold the bill in your hands and you will speak out loud, not in your head, out loud. And you will say these exact words: Lord God, creator of heaven and earth, I acknowledge that this money did not come from my effort alone. You gave me the power to create this wealth. This bill is evidence of our partnership. I set it apart as sacred. I will not spend it. I will not use it for myself. It belongs to you, and every time I see it, I will remember the covenant. I will remember that you are the source, and I am the vessel. I will remember that you give the power, and I give the action. And together we create wealth that establishes your kingdom on earth. And then you will write something on this bill. You will write the verse. Deuteronomy 8:18. You can write it in English. You can write the reference. You can write the Hebrew if you know it. But you must mark this bill. You must make it different from every other bill in your wallet. Because this bill is no longer currency. This bill is an altar, a reminder, a physical anchor that interrupts the pattern of amnesia every single time you open your wallet. Step 2. You will carry this bill with you for 90 days. Minimum. It stays in your wallet. It goes where you go, and you are forbidden to spend it. This is not a suggestion. This is a prohibition, a sacred boundary. You do not break this boundary. Not for coffee, not for gas, not for an emergency, nothing. This bill is set apart. It is holy, and you do not violate holy things. And here's what will happen. Every single time you open your wallet to pay for something, you will see that bill. And for a split second, you will remember. You will remember the covenant. You will remember the partnership. You will remember that the money you're about to spend came from him, not from you. And in that moment of memory, your consciousness shifts. Your spending becomes intentional instead of impulsive. Your decisions become aligned instead of chaotic. You stop leaking wealth. You stop treating money like it's infinite and disposable. You start treating it like what it is, sacred energy that must be stewarded with wisdom. Step 3. Every week, on the same day, at the same time, you will review. You will take out that bill. You will hold it. And you will ask yourself 3 questions. Question 1. Did I remember the covenant this week? Did I operate as a partner, or did I fall back into the amnesia of self-sufficiency? Question 2. Did I use the power I was given according to covenant terms? Did my decisions honor the partnership, or did they serve only my ego? Question 3. What needs to change? What pattern do I need to break? What discipline do I need to strengthen? And you will write down your answers. Not type them, write them, by hand, in a notebook, dedicated to this purpose. Because writing engages the body. Writing creates physical memory. Writing anchors consciousness. And over the course of 90 days, you will see patterns emerge. You will see where you leak. You will see where you violate covenant. You will see where amnesia creeps back in. And you will correct, week by week, pattern by pattern, decision by decision. This is the protocol. 3 steps. Simple, brutal, effective. And I know what you're thinking right now. You're thinking, Rabbi Yosef, this seems too simple. How can marking a bill change my financial situation? And that's exactly the voice I warned you about, the voice of doubt, the voice that demands complexity, the voice that says, unless it's sophisticated, unless it requires a PhD, unless it involves quantum physics or manifesting or complex financial strategies, it can't possibly work. That voice is a liar. The most powerful technologies in the universe are simple. Prayer is simple. Breathing is simple. Covenant is simple. And simplicity is what makes it sustainable. Complexity burns out. Simplicity endures. But simple does not mean easy. Do not confuse the two. This protocol will cost you, not money, discipline. It will cost you the comfort of operating on autopilot. It will cost you the luxury of unconscious spending. It will cost you the illusion that you are in control. And here's the price you need to count before you commit. You will be mocked, not by others, by yourself. That voice in your head will attack this practice relentlessly. It will tell you you're wasting your time. It will tell you this is primitive superstition. It will tell you successful people don't do things like this. And you will have to silence that voice every single day for 90 days. And that requires strength, spiritual strength, the kind of strength that Nachshon had when he walked into the sea, the kind of strength that says, I don't care if this looks foolish. I don't care if no one else understands. I am in covenant, and covenant requires action, so I act. You will also face the temptation to quit, especially in the first 2 weeks, because nothing dramatic will happen. Your bank account will not suddenly triple, bills will not disappear, debt will not vanish. What will happen is subtle, quiet, internal. Your panic will ease, your clarity will sharpen, your decisions will improve, and those improvements will compound over time into results that look miraculous to people on the outside, but to you, they will feel like the natural outcome of alignment. This is the cost. 90 days of discipline, 90 days of interrupting the pattern, 90 days of remembering when every instinct in you wants to forget. Can you pay that price? Because if you can, everything changes, not overnight, but inevitably. Let me tell you what happened after I started this practice, after I consecrated that check, after I made the vow in my car. The first week, nothing changed. My business was still failing. My stress was still crushing, but my panic was less. I could think clearly for the first time in months. The second week, I had a conversation with a potential client that I had been avoiding because I was too ashamed to admit I needed the work. But the shame lifted. I made the call, I got the contract, it saved my business. The third week, I received an email from someone I hadn't spoken to in years. They had a project. They needed my skills. The timing was impossible to explain as coincidence, and it kept happening. Week after week, small things, connections, opportunities, ideas. None of it was magic. All of it was the result of operating with a clear mind, aligned actions, and covenant consciousness. Within 90 days, my business was not only saved, it was thriving. Not because I worked harder, I actually worked less, but I worked smarter, with precision, with purpose, with peace. And 5 years later, I can tell you this, I still carry that bill. It's worn now, faded, but it stays in my wallet. Because I never want to forget again. I never want to go back to the slavery of self-sufficiency. I never want to operate outside the covenant. This is what awaits you if you commit to this protocol. Not just money, transformation. From slave to partner, from victim to steward, from amnesia to covenant consciousness. But you have to act. You have to walk into the water. You have to take the bill tonight and consecrate it. You have to carry it for 90 days. You have to do the weekly review. Knowledge without action is worthless. Understanding without application is masturbation. You can watch this video 100 times. You can take notes. You can discuss it with your friends. But until you physically do the protocol, nothing changes. So here's what I need you to do right now. First, go to the comments and write these 4 words. I am a partner with God. Not I want to be. Not I hope to be. Present tense. Declaration. Vow. Say it publicly. Because public declarations create accountability, and accountability creates follow-through. Second, take the action tonight. Not tomorrow, not next week. Tonight. Because the Yetzer Hara lives in the land of tomorrow. Tomorrow never comes. Tomorrow is where dreams go to die. Tonight is where transformation begins. And if you want to go deeper, if you want the complete system, if you want to understand not just the currency protocol, but the business protocol, the relationship protocol, the legacy protocol. I teach all of it in the Torah Millionaire Business School. The link is in the description. It's not cheap, it's not for everyone, but if you're serious about covenant wealth, if you're ready to build a business that honors God and serves purpose, then that's where we go deep. But whether you join the school or not, do the protocol, do the 3 steps, commit to 90 days, and watch what happens. Because here's what I know. The windows of heaven are already open. The blessing is already prepared. The abundance is already available. It's been waiting for you, but it will not pour out until you remember, until you act, until you step into the water. The sea will part, but you have to walk first. And I'll be right here, walking with you, teaching you, guiding you, pushing you when you want to quit, celebrating with you when breakthrough comes. This is your moment. This is your invitation. This is your covenant. Do not let amnesia steal it from you. In the next video, I'm going to show you the second level of this system, how to consecrate not just your currency but your business, how to build a company that operates entirely within covenant structure, how to create wealth that multiplies for generations. But you need to master this level first. You need to do the 90 days. You need to prove to yourself that covenant works. So go, take the action, write the declaration, do the protocol, and may the Holy One, blessed be He, open the windows of heaven over your life and pour out blessing until there is no more room to contain it. Shalom, my friend, until next time.